Welcome to Monday's edition of Point Counterpoint. Bernie Rayno, Paul Pastelok, and Paul. Remember last week at this time we were all discussing on the upcoming weekend that there would possibly be a storm that would take a track from the south central United States right up the eastern seaboard. That storm took a little bit of a detour this weekend, producing all the snow in the southwest. But as we look at this a week later, here's where the upper low is. So it is coming. It was just delayed by about 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too, is the track. Looking at it Thursday and Friday, it was sending it off the Carolina coast and then looping it up. And now it's farther west and all this mild air and almost kind of a springtime look to it as we head into Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, Bernie.
Yeah. In fact, let's take a look at the track here, Mark.
Paul.
So, okay. Let's take a look at the track here. This is as we head into Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. Look at this. We're going to deal with this in a second, Paul, the severe weather threat. But I just want to show this. You can see the track. This energy, that's the upper low in Texas, moving east, then northeastward. I want to show the surface panel here quick before we get to the severe weather, Paul. The other part of this storm is there is going to be soaking rains from this Tennessee, Alabama, heading on northeast during the day tomorrow. There's Tuesday morning, Paul.
And what's your feeling, Bernie? Do you think that it's a soaking rain for a short period of time and then it's out of here, or is
that's it, well, you know,
it looks like it's moving.
My concern is that, and the Europeans not showing this as much, and this is where you have to start looking at these models as tools, but notice what happens to the surface pressure. As the system moves northeast, it starts to really bomb out, really deepen. And when that happens, the northwest, the upper motion increases, and the storm tends to slow.
Yes.
Tends to. I think, Paul, we're looking at a general 1 to 2 inches in this area.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
If it slows down, it could be even more. I want to take a look at the low-level jet. You and I were looking at this, Paul, and here is the low-level jet as we head into tomorrow morning. Take a look at that.
Yeah, and the short-range models forecasting over Raleigh 67-knot wind gusts at 5,000 feet. That's very impressive. And
in fact, this is the panel right now, Paul. Our viewers can kind of see it. This is what Paul's talking about. Right near Raleigh, north and east of Charlotte, there is a 70-knot jet coming into North Carolina. Now, you and I both looked at, I mean, if you look at other parameters like the Cape, dew points, there is a little bit of a surge coming up there, and there's 60, but you can't get this kind of wind and not expect at least a squall line with damaging wind gusts.
And keep in mind what time of the year it is. I mean, here we are, late December and early January seeing these kind of parameters. So, I mean, you got to keep that in fact that it could go off here on us, and it could go off pretty quickly, I think, in a short period of time.
The trough goes the key is, there's a reason why there's the low-level jet in there, because look what happens to your trough. It goes negative.
Yeah.
It goes negatively tilted, so it's going to be on the eastern flank that the wind really comes in. Paul, we were looking at this before. Look at this wind, and again, this is GFS. For this to be right, you have to assume that the storm bombs out like that. The European had more of a progressive system with it bombing out a little farther north. But take a look at this low-level jet, 70 to 80 knots coming into the central Jersey coast, and that's tomorrow evening.
And I think we're going to see this, Bernie, and I look at the long range. I think this is the typical storm track of the winter season that you're seeing right there. A lot of rain and wind on the East Coast, and cutters and more snow back in the eastern Ohio Valley and Great Lakes area.
If you have any questions for us, email us at pointcounterpoint@accuweather.com. Have a fantastic Monday.